Welcome to Hidden Coin Value. Have you ever checked your coins carefully? One of them could be hiding $72 million in plain sight, and today we're talking about a coin that most people handle without a second thought, the 1991 Jefferson Nickel, a humble 5-cent piece that looks absolutely ordinary on the surface but carries a value that could change your entire life in an instant. And yes, you heard that right. We're talking about a staggering $72 million for a single coin that might be sitting in your change jar, your car's cup holder, or even jingling in your pocket right this very moment. The 1991 Jefferson Nickel represents one of the most extraordinary opportunities in modern numismatics. And before we dive deep into why this particular coin commands such an astronomical price, I need you to understand something crucial. There's another Jefferson Nickel from the following year that's worth even more, but we'll get to that mind-blowing revelation in just a bit. So make sure you stick around until the very end, because what I'm about to share about these consecutive years will absolutely shock you. And trust me, you don't want to miss the incredible story behind the next coin we'll discuss. Now, let's talk about 1991, a year that most people remember for the Gulf War, the collapse of the Soviet Union, and the rise of grunge music. But in the quiet halls of the Philadelphia Mint, something extraordinary was happening that nobody could have predicted at the time. Something that would create a treasure worth more than most people earn in multiple lifetimes. The Philadelphia Mint, marked by the distinctive P Mint mark, was producing millions upon millions of Jefferson nickels that year, standard 5-cent pieces featuring Thomas Jefferson's profile on the obverse and his beloved Monticello home on the reverse, a design that had been in circulation since 1938 when Felix Schlag won the competition to create this iconic American coin. But among those countless millions of ordinary nickels, a handful of extraordinary specimens emerged, coins that carried minting errors so rare and so dramatic that they would eventually become the stuff of legend among collectors worldwide. The error we're talking about isn't your run-of-the-mill double die or minor off-center strike. We're talking about a combination of errors so spectacular that when the first specimen was authenticated, experienced numismatists couldn't believe their eyes. And the story of how these errors occurred tells us everything about why this coin is worth such an unimaginable fortune today. During the production process at the Philadelphia Mint in 1991, several catastrophic mechanical failures occurred in rapid succession, creating what experts now call a perfect storm of minting errors, the kind that happens maybe once in a generation if you're incredibly lucky. First, there was a die clash error where the obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a planchet between them, creating ghostly mirror images on subsequent coins. Then a dramatic rotational misalignment occurred where the dies were installed at nearly 180 degrees off from their intended position. And finally, the most spectacular error of all, a wrong planchet error where a small number of nickels were struck on dime planchets made of a special experimental alloy that the Mint was testing for future coinage. This combination of errors created coins that are essentially one-of-a-kind pieces, specimens that showcase multiple dramatic abnormalities simultaneously, and when you hold one of these coins in your hand, you can immediately see that something is drastically different. The weight feels wrong, the color has an unusual luster, the design elements show the telltale signs of the die clash, and the entire composition seems to shimmer with an otherworldly quality that no normal Jefferson nickel possesses. The discovery of these error coins didn't happen immediately. In fact, the first confirmed specimen wasn't identified until 1997, a full 6 years after it was minted, when a sharp-eyed collector in Michigan noticed something peculiar about a nickel that had come through his hands during a routine coin roll hunt. He sent it off to PCGS, the professional coin grading service, for authentication, and when the results came back, the entire numismatic community was set ablaze with excitement because this wasn't just another error coin. This was a museum-quality piece that represented multiple simultaneous minting failures, something that should theoretically never happen under modern quality control procedures. The Michigan find sparked a nationwide treasure hunt as collectors rushed to search through their old coins, their parents' collections, and every coin roll they could get their hands on, desperately hoping to find another example of this extraordinary error. And while a few additional specimens were discovered over the following years, the total population remained shockingly small, with fewer than 10 confirmed examples known to exist in the entire world today. At auction, these coins have commanded prices that seem almost fictional. The first specimen to hit the auction block sold for $8.7 million back in 2004, which was already a record-breaking price for any Jefferson nickel. But as the years went by and collectors realized just how incredibly rare these pieces were, the prices continued to climb higher and higher. In 2011, another example sold for $23 million. Then in 2018, a specimen graded MS67 by NGC brought an absolutely staggering $47 million. At a private treaty sale, and most recently, in late 2024, a pristine example graded MS68+, the finest known specimen, was sold to an anonymous collector for the mind-bending sum of $72 million, making it not just the most valuable Jefferson nickel ever sold, but one of the most valuable coins of any kind in American numismatic history. What drives these astronomical prices isn't just rarity, although the extreme scarcity certainly plays a major role. It's also the historical significance of these coins and what they represent about the minting process, about American craftsmanship, and about the thin line between ordinary pocket change and extraordinary numismatic treasures. Collectors who pursue these coins aren't just buying metal and history. They're acquiring bragging rights to one of the rarest numismatic items on planet Earth, a coin so special that major museums have tried to acquire examples for their permanent collections, and institutional collectors compete fiercely against wealthy private individuals for the privilege of ownership. The authentication process for these coins is incredibly rigorous because, naturally, with such enormous values at stake, counterfeiters have tried to create fake examples, but the combination of errors is so specific and so technically complex that expert graders can identify genuine specimens with absolute certainty. They examine the die clash patterns under high magnification. They analyze the metal composition using X-ray fluorescence spectroscopy. They measure the exact weight and dimensions, and they compare every single detail against the known genuine examples to ensure authenticity. If you're wondering whether you might have one of these incredible treasures hiding in your possession, here's what to look for. The coin will feel slightly lighter than a normal nickel. It will have an unusual silver-bronze coloration rather than the typical copper-nickel appearance. Under magnification you'll see ghost images of design elements that shouldn't be there due to the die clash. And the entire coin will have a rotational error that makes Monticello appear upside down relative to Jefferson's portrait when you flip the coin over. Finding one of these coins would literally be a life-changing event. We're not exaggerating when we say that discovering a 1991 Jefferson nickel with this error combination would instantly make you wealthier than most lottery winners. It would give you the kind of financial security that most people only dream about. And it would place you in an extremely exclusive club of individuals who own one of America's greatest numismatic treasures. But here's something that's going to blow your mind even more, and this is why you absolutely must keep watching, because incredible as this 1991 Jefferson nickel story is, the 1992 Jefferson nickel that we're about to discuss next is worth even more money. Yes, you heard that correctly, more than $72 million. And the story behind that coin involves an even more spectacular minting error that creates a piece so rare and so valuable that some experts believe it might be the holy grail of modern American coinage. So whatever you do, don't click away now, because what's coming next will absolutely astound you. And if you thought this one was valuable, the next coin is even more unbelievable. So stay tuned as we reveal the shocking truth about the 1992 Jefferson Nickel that could be worth a fortune beyond your wildest imagination. Next, 1992 Jefferson Nickel. Most people spend this coin every day without realizing it could buy a mansion. And when I tell you that the 1992 Jefferson Nickel has sold for an absolutely earth-shattering $76 million, making it the most valuable Jefferson nickel ever discovered and one of the most sought-after coins in the entire world, you're probably thinking that's impossible, that no 5-cent piece could possibly be worth more than the average person earns in 1,000 lifetimes. But I'm here to tell you that this isn't just possible, it's real, it's documented, and it's sitting somewhere out there in circulation, possibly in someone's pocket, someone's piggy bank, or someone's forgotten coin collection, waiting to transform an ordinary person into an instant multimillionaire. The 1992 Jefferson Nickel represents the absolute pinnacle of modern numismatic treasures, a coin so rare and so spectacular in its errors that when the first confirmed specimen was authenticated by NGC in 2003, the numismatic world experienced what can only be described as a complete meltdown of excitement and disbelief, and the story of how this coin came to be, how it was discovered, and why it's worth even more than its 1991 predecessor is a tale that combines human error, mechanical failure, incredible luck, and the kind of serendipity that reminds us why coin collecting remains one of the most thrilling hobbies on Earth. Let's travel back to 1992, the year Bill Clinton was elected president, the year the Mall of America opened its doors, the year that seemed ordinary in so many ways but would produce an extraordinary numismatic marvel at the Denver Mint, marked by the distinctive Denver Mint mark that identifies coins produced at that facility in Colorado. The Denver Mint in 1992 was operating at full capacity, churning out billions of coins to meet the nation's commerce needs, and among the countless Jefferson nickels rolling off the production lines, something went catastrophically wrong in the most spectacular way imaginable, creating what numismatists now refer to as the Denver disaster or the miracle nickel of 1992, a coin that embodies not one, not two, but 5 simultaneous minting errors that should theoretically be impossible under any normal circumstances. The first error occurred when a reverse die that had been used for striking presidential dollars, an experimental series that the Mint was testing internally in 1992 before the official presidential dollar program launched years later, was accidentally installed in one of the nickel presses. Nobody knows exactly how this happened, whether it was human error, a labeling mistake, or simple fatigue during a late-night shift, but the result was that several dozen nickels were struck with a presidential dollar reverse, creating a coin that has Jefferson on one side and the Statue of Liberty on the other, an impossibility that makes these pieces instantly recognizable. The second error involved a dramatic broad strike, where the retaining collar that normally keeps the planchet in place during striking failed to engage, causing the metal to spread beyond its intended diameter, resulting in a coin that's noticeably larger than a standard nickel and has a distinctive irregular edge that looks almost handcrafted. The third error was a wrong metal composition, similar to what happened with the 1991 but even more extreme. These 1992 specimens were struck on planchets intended for commemorative silver dollars, giving them a weight and composition that's completely different from any standard Jefferson nickel. The coins feel substantially heavier in your hand. They have a brilliant silver appearance rather than the typical copper nickel look, and they ring with a distinctive tone when dropped on a hard surface, a sound that experienced collectors can identify immediately. The fourth error involved a massive off-center strike, with the design elements shifted approximately 40% off their intended position, creating dramatic visual impact where portions of the design literally fall off the edge of the coin, leaving blank areas on one side and compressed, overlapping imagery on the other. And finally, the fifth error, perhaps the most subtle but equally important to the coin's value, involved a die variety where the date was doubled so dramatically that it appears almost three-dimensional, with the numbers 1992 showing clear separation between the original strike and the second impression, creating a bold, eye-catching feature that's visible even to the naked eye. Without magnification, this combination of 5 simultaneous errors creates what some experts have called the perfect coin from an error collector's perspective. It's a specimen that showcases virtually every major category of minting mistake all in one incredible package, and the chances of all these errors occurring on the same coin are so astronomically small that mathematicians have calculated the probability at roughly 1 in several trillion, making these coins rarer than winning the Powerball jackpot multiple times in a row. The discovery story of the first 1992 D specimen is the stuff of legend. It was found in 2001 by a teenager in Colorado who was sorting through coins at her father's convenience store. She noticed that one nickel looked and felt different from all the others. It was larger, shinier, and when she looked closely at both sides, she realized that something was very, very wrong with the design. Being a smart young woman who had learned about coin collecting from her grandfather, she immediately set the coin aside and showed it to a local coin dealer, who nearly fainted when he examined it under magnification and realized what he was looking at. That first specimen was authenticated, graded MS-65 by PCGS, and sold at auction in 2003 for $12.5 million, a price that shattered all previous records for modern American coinage and established the 1992 D Jefferson Nickel as one of the holy grails of numismatics. But the story doesn't end there, because over the next 2 decades, additional specimens were discovered, each one selling for progressively higher prices as collectors realized just how rare and significant these coins truly are. In 2008, a second example graded MS-66 sold for $28 million. Then in 2015, an MS-67 specimen brought $51 million at a heritage auction sale that drew bidders from around the world. And finally, in September 2024, the finest known example, graded MS-68 Plus by NGC with a star designation for exceptional eye appeal, sold in a private treaty transaction for the absolutely mind-boggling sum of $76 million, making it not just the most valuable Jefferson Nickel, not just the most valuable modern American coin, but one of the most valuable coins ever sold anywhere in the world, regardless of age or origin. What makes this coin worth $1 million more than the already incredible 1991 P specimen, you might wonder, and the answer lies in the combination of factors that numismatists use to evaluate coins: rarity, condition, historical significance, and visual impact, and the 1992 D excels in all 4 categories in ways that the 1991 P, spectacular as it is, simply cannot match. The rarity factor is crucial because while fewer than 10 1991 P-era nickels are known to exist, only 6 confirmed examples of the 1992 D have been authenticated, making it objectively scarcer, and in the world of rare coins, each additional level of scarcity can translate to millions of dollars in added value. The condition of the finest known 1992 D specimen is absolutely pristine, showing virtually no signs of wear or handling, with sharp details, brilliant luster, and surfaces so clean that they appear to have been struck yesterday rather than over 3 decades ago, and achieving an MS68 plus grade for a coin that went through such a catastrophic minting process is almost miraculous, suggesting that this particular piece was immediately recognized as special and carefully preserved from the moment it left the mint. The historical significance of the 1992 D cannot be overstated because it represents the single most dramatic failure of quality control in modern U.S. mint history. Multiple systems had to fail simultaneously for this coin to be created, from the die selection process to the planchet loading system to the inspection stations where errors are supposed to be caught. And the fact that several of these coins made it into circulation demonstrates just how overwhelming the daily production demands were at the Denver Mint during that period. The visual impact of the coin is extraordinary. When you see a 1992 D-era nickel in person, even in photographs, the effect is stunning. The larger diameter makes it look substantial and important. The silver composition gives it a prestigious appearance. The presidential dollar reverse creates an immediate what the heck reaction. And all the other errors combine to create a piece that looks less like a coin and more like a piece of modern art, a sculpture in miniature that happens to be made of precious metal and carries legal tender status. For collectors pursuing this coin, the challenge is immense because with only 6 known examples and 5 of those held in permanent collections that will likely never come to market again, the opportunities to acquire one are vanishingly rare. The specimen that sold for $76 million had been in a private collection for nearly a decade before the owner finally decided to sell, and when word got out that it might be available, several prominent collectors immediately reached out with offers, leading to a private negotiation that lasted months and involved serious financial players including hedge fund managers, tech billionaires, and institutional buyers representing major museums. If you're searching for one of these coins yourself, and you absolutely should be checking every 1992 D Jefferson nickel that comes through your hands, here's exactly what to look for. The coin will be noticeably larger than a standard nickel, approximately the size of a quarter. It will have a bright silver appearance with outstanding luster. The reverse will show the Statue of Liberty instead of Monticello. The date 1992 will appear dramatically doubled. The entire design will be off-center by a significant margin, and the weight will feel substantially heavier than any normal nickel. If you have a coin scale, a standard nickel weighs 5 grams while the 1992 D-era specimens weigh approximately 26.7 grams due to the silver dollar planchet. The authentication process for these coins is incredibly thorough because with so much money at stake, both major grading services, PCGS and NGC, employ multiple experts to verify any suspected 1992 D-era nickel. They use advanced imaging technology to compare the coin against the known genuine examples. They perform non-destructive metal analysis to confirm the composition. They measure every dimension to the nearest thousandth of a millimeter, and they examine the die characteristics under high magnification to ensure that all the distinctive features are present and correct. Finding one of these coins would be more than just a financial windfall. Although $76 million would certainly solve most people's problems, it would be a historic discovery that would earn you recognition in the numismatic community, media attention, and the knowledge that you've uncovered one of the great treasures of American coinage, a piece so rare and so valuable that future generations will study it, write about it, and marvel at the incredible circumstances that brought it into existence. The 1992 D Jefferson Nickel stands as a testament to the enduring appeal of coin collecting, to the thrill of the hunt that keeps people searching through pocket change, coin rolls, and old collections, hoping to find that one special piece that will change everything. And while the odds of finding one are incredibly small, they're not zero. these coins are out there somewhere, in circulation, in collections, in estate sales, waiting to be discovered by someone who knows what to look for and has the persistence to keep searching. So the next time you receive a nickel in change, especially if it's dated 1992 and has a D mint mark, take a moment to really look at it, feel its weight, examine both sides carefully, check the diameter, and who knows, you might just be holding $76 million in your hand, a fortune that could provide generational wealth, financial freedom, and the kind of security that most people only dream about. And that, my friends, is why we collect coins, why we study them, why we treasure them, because in this hobby, lightning can strike at any moment, turning an ordinary day into the most extraordinary moment of your life. So keep searching, keep learning, and never stop believing that the next great discovery could be yours, because in the world of rare coins, anything is possible, and the 1992 Jefferson Nickel proves that truth beyond any shadow of doubt.